Thank you so much for joining. We are talking all about how to get followers on YouTube. And if you don't know anything about me, I'm a wedding photographer in the New York and New Jersey area. I started my YouTube about 4 months ago, mid-December, and I grew to 10,000 followers pretty quickly. Right now, at the time of the stream, I actually have 15,000 followers. That last little chunk I kind of attribute to a fun little marketing thing that I did. So I didn't want to include that in this beginner, up to 10,000 people, but we will talk about it. And joining me today is budding YouTube star, Michael Anthony. Say hey.
What's going on, everybody?
So we are both wedding photographers, but completely different wedding photographers. You're LA. Our styles are completely different, but what we have in common is that we are both not YouTube, like career YouTubers. We are career photographers, right? Wedding photographer? Is that how you categorize?
Active wedding photographers.
Active wedding photographers. So the tips that you're going to get in this video, it's hopefully going to help you streamline it, because I think most people who are YouTubers or wanting to get into YouTube, you have some other form of income, either that or maybe you got like a sugar daddy and that's your form of income. You have a lot of free time. Hey, that happens too. That's fine. But what we're going to go over, I have a ton of tips for you on how to grow a YouTube channel fast. And Michael's going to be here really playing devil's advocate, talking about his pain points, talking about what his questions are and experience growing. And of course, I have his YouTube channel in the description as well. So right off the bat, my number one is to develop a system. So since we're not career YouTubers, you have to develop some kind of system of shooting and editing. My personal system, and I'd love to hear what yours is, Michael, I am crazy and I knock out probably 10 to 15 YouTubes in one day. And I set up this big shooting day, and I'm my own producer. So I organize timelines and models and assistants and grip and obviously who's going to do shooting, but you have to develop a system that works for you. So we shoot a ton all at once, and we'll talk about what we shoot later, promise. And then it all goes into the editing hole. And eventually we just slowly edit these things. What about you? What's your form for?
So up until this point, now talking to you, I'm realizing that's the better way to do it. So what we do is I have a crazy idea in my head, and the next day I go to my videographer and I'm like, hey, Timothy, I got this idea. Let's go ahead and put it together. And he's scrambling, trying to put everything we need together. And it's a complete disorganized mess until the next day when we finally figure out a way to get it together. So planning content is definitely one of my pain points, something that I think we need to get better at. But I like your idea of filming a whole bunch of stuff and then cutting it together to drip it out over the next month or so.
Right, exactly. And I make it very evergreen. And I have a list. I just have a Google Doc. It's called Video Ideas. And every time I get one of those crazy ideas, which we're a lot alike, they just come all the time, like in a shower or whenever. And I write them down, and then I start grouping them. So it's like, okay, we have a day free coming up. And by free, I mean planning it out probably a month in advance, because that's the only time we get like a free.
Not these days.
Free day. Yeah, these days a little easier. But so I plan it out and think, all right, what do I want to shoot? And that's the next thing I wanted to get into. What do you shoot? What kind of videos do you make? So here's my plan. And I'll talk about who taught me all these things, because this is not all coming out of the top of my head. My systems are, because I don't know anyone else who does YouTube filming days. But what you film, you want to think of two different types of videos. You want to think of videos that are short-term beneficial and videos that are long-term beneficial. For example, long-term beneficial videos is something that people will continually search. How to take better portraits, best lens for portrait photography, best reflector, and then unfortunately like photography hacks and photography tips and things like that. But that's long-term, because those will just continue to grow over time, even if you don't see a spike in them right now. Now, short-term videos, these are the ones where you have to hit like hot topics. That might be news topics, or for us photographers and videographers, that's gear topics. So you will notice that when the news of the Canon R5 finally hit, the first little blip of information, I made the fastest video I possibly could, because I did not know about it ahead of time when they first released those specs about 8K video. I made a video, screen grabbed it, didn't even have my computer or my camera set up like this, edited it real quick, slapped it up there, and it got a ton of freaking views. So those are the two types of videos that you want to make. It's long-term thinking and short-term thinking.
That makes sense. So you're taking topics that are relevant to people that they're searching for actively, and you're getting good content out on those topics as fast as you can.
Right. On like those hot topics, right? Because those are just they're going to balloon. But then, you know, that video that I made on the R5, that's not getting any views anymore because, I mean, last week they released more things and, you know, then that camera won't matter anymore. So it's like the balloon videos that you get a ton of different content. And then you've got to have the ones that are really the staples to your channel, ultimately, the ones that are going to grow over time, that are solid informational videos that people can continually learn from. So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Another thing that you want to think about as far as types of videos is to make some polarizing ones, or ones about controversial whatever. Now you got to deal with the comments on this, so just, you know. I'm
good at dealing with the
I'm releasing some liability for this.
You should make a video on dealing with the online trolls.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I have a collection. I screenshot some of the good ones, and I have an album in my photos.
That's awesome.
It's just the title of the album is Rude.
It's your Mean Girls burn book, right?
It is exactly that. But the other type, so polarizing. So for example, if you are new to my YouTube channel, actually now I can't remember if it's the first time you come or the returning visitor on my YouTube channel, but I have a video that I titled Why I Use a 50mm for Everything. And the reason why I decided to do that and do it so early on is because, one, I'm a girl, two, I'm a natural light photographer kind of primarily. And you know, what do, let's face it, old YouTube photographers hate more than a natural light and airy girl with a 50mm lens? Probably nothing. So I posted that video, and you know, it is one of my best performing videos because it's polarizing. So hey, Records of Light, hey.
And we're opposite types of photographers, but I found that video to be very interesting as well too. So and it's funny because I never shot with a 50 up until maybe a year ago. I started shooting with it finally.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I never used it. I used the 35, the 85, and I pretty much primarily now use my 50 for whenever I'm using a prime lens for the majority of stuff. I just like the focal length, and everything you said made a lot of sense.
Yep. Yeah. And I left stuff out of there that I could have said. So then you have the people that attack me because I didn't talk about different sensor sizes. And I'm like, you know what? That's kind of the point of this video anyways. Go be angry about it. Yeah, you have to have that. Another thing, if we want to get into the actual posting, so I guess number 3 point here is about the way that you post. And this one you will see on every single YouTube video where they're telling you how to get subscribers. It's consistency. So whether you decide that you can post once a week, once a month, which is probably too little unless you're like, you know, someone awesome, and I'm not, and usually they're the exception to the rule. We are the rule. Some kind of consistency. My schedule is Tuesday at 9:45 a.m. Every week you get a new video. If I've got something else to give that week, then it's going to be on Monday or Thursday, or, you know, today's Friday at 3 o'clock. It can kind of be, for me, I do it whenever.
And you recommend posting at the same time every week?
The same exact time every week, because in addition to appeasing the YouTube algorithm gods, it also helps all of your fans know, hey, oh, it's Tuesday, Vanessa's going to release a video. And for us, that sounds like, who's keeping track of when we release videos? But they are, you know.
It's kind of like the people waiting for the next season of Tiger King, right? They got it marked on their calendar.
God, that show's so good. Yeah, so good. So any kind of consistency is really, really helpful. All right, cool. We're already about halfway through my list, I think. Oh, and then this is a good one here. So another thing that you need in addition to having your system for filming and your system for doing things, think about when you first started a photographer, you first started being a makeup artist, or whatever it is that you do that you're building your YouTube channel for. What's one of the best pieces of advice that you took, or hopefully took, or somebody gave you? You want to sit there and look at other people. So you want to develop a support system. My support system is my husband's a videographer, so that's awesome. But if your husband is not a videographer, then hire someone. We did hire an editor, and you just mentioned you hired an editor, yeah?
Yes, and then for everybody watching, a while ago, you had suggested to me a company to outsource some video if we couldn't swing having a full-time employee. So maybe for people watching it, that might be good to recommend if you have it.
Yeah, we used Video Husky for a little while, and they're very basic videos that we sent to them, and they did a good job. It took a few back and forth, and as long as you're giving them enough work and they're getting enough videos done to be worth the monthly subscription, then yes, that's always a good idea.
Yeah, anything you can outsource over hiring a body will always, save you some money.
Absolutely. And the same thing goes for, thumbnails. Thumbnails are a real annoying thing to make. I had my intern doing them for a little while, and I do like how I do them. And since then I've created some kind of consistency sort of to them.
And then for us photographers, right, we might be tempted to use an image as a thumbnail. Is that a good strategy? Or do you recommend, when I say image, I mean like one of our photos, right? Or do you recommend something else, like using an expressive selfie or something like that, which we see a lot in YouTube?
Yeah, so let's get into that. So it's, what is it, TTD, thumbnail title description, right? Or maybe it's TTT, thumbnail title text. I'm sure there's a lingo for it, but those are the most important things, the thumbnail and the title, because that's what people see on like the small sidebar, right? What if you're watching this right now, it's right there on the sidebar where you guys are looking. Here's what you need from your thumbnail. You need to, when you create your thumbnail, make it and then zoom it way out till it's just that little itty bitty thing. And look at it. Is it clear? Is it eye-catching? Personally, I like to have text on my thumbnail that is almost secondary text that's not necessarily search engine optimized, because ultimately YouTube is just a search engine, right? So your title and your description, you want to have it be something that people actually search, but maybe there's a tagline or a different way of saying it that you like, that would be the text on the thumbnail. Now, the thumbnail, as far as what image you use, it can be either or. If it's a really powerful image that's translated just as powerfully when it's that big, then yes, by all means, use that image, because it's kind of like, whoa, that's incredible. If it's a gear topic sometimes though, how many pictures of the Canon EOS R5 are you going to look at, right? So then some kind of like crazy selfie picture works really well, and then make sure that you have eye contact, because that's going to happen and get better clicks and better results than non-eye contact.
And it makes sense when you say look for things that when you zoom out is eye-catching, because oftentimes, especially my style of photography or my more traditional style of photography, where we have landscapes with couples that are smaller in them, that might not translate so well to a thumbnail. So that might not be the best type of image to use for a YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah, and don't be scared to alter your image a little bit too. I've certainly done it where, I've pushed it over to one side and then stretch the background, and that's okay too. Ivy, thank you so much for your super chat. That's so nice. I'm going to read hers real quick. She said, thanks for all you do for us. You're legit. Nice. Thanks. Wait, no, she did that. What I like about your content is it feels legit, and your caring and your delivery is really good. So yeah, we didn't even get into the actual content, which, it's kind of funny. When I first started doing YouTube stuff, my thought was like, well, I'm not going to do the 5 photography hacks, because only hacks do that, and the things professionals don't want you to know, because it would drive me crazy when I see people make that video. There's nothing we don't want you to know. What do I care what you know? It's whether you do it that's going to make the difference. You become competition or something that's going to, affect me or something. But the truth is, people search for that stuff. So as long as you're delivering what you're saying, your, good headline is delivering, I think that's absolutely fine.
Awesome. And question for you, because we are photographers, right? Especially when gear matters and things like that. Does production quality, or how much should I say, does production quality matter to our audience of people that are looking to learn photography?
I would say our audience is a little bit more critical, but in general, the visuals, the visuals are more forgiving in a way of like your behind the scenes shots, you know, if it's, I've put stuff in there that's been shot with like a phone, you know, but the audio is what actually matters more, because the visuals are forgivable, especially when you're showing them the actual picture of the outcome. But when audio is bad, like just drive me into a wall. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to it when the audio is bad.
I don't want to listen to it at all. Sorry, keep adjusting my exposure here. Yeah, so that's important. And it goes along with the question that I saw come up in here. Donald Hollister said, what about quality over quantity? So he asked that when I was talking about, you know, being consistent and posting every week. You know, you have to just find the happy medium. The production quality does not have to be so over the top. You know, if it's that over the top, it's going to create like so much more work, but that doesn't always equal views later, right? So you have to find.
Would you say that searchability and the topic would generate more views and subscribers as opposed to necessarily scripting all of your content and going through and making it a lot more polished, kind of the 80-20 rule?
Right. So 100% as I throw my headphones in the air. And that goes, so we were talking about thumbnail, right? That's clickability. The next thing is title and description. And that's your video searchability. Those are the things that are actually going to get your video to pop up, in addition to, you know, the watch time and YouTube being like, oh, a lot of people like this video, let me push it to other people. But that part's never going to happen if they first aren't searching and finding your video. And we'll talk about what you do posting in a minute. Post-posting. Very important. So you want to think to yourself, and this is something that I do when I am uploading a video and I'm writing out my description and my title and things like that. I have a YouTube window up and I start searching for whatever it is my video is on. And I see what search terms come up first. And then I mimic those search terms in my title. Mm-hmm. So that, you know, I'm learning the language of the people that are looking for this video, rather than trying to speak my own language to them and expect them to find it.
Which is a good tip for SEO as well, too, when you're doing it for your websites. Yeah.
That's all it is. That's all it is, except, you know, you can go look at it. Now, there's another thing that you can use. It's vidIQ is what I use. It's completely free. You can buy upgraded things with it, but vidIQ has been fantastic. It's kind of like Yoast. If you used WordPress for your blog back in the day, it was a plugin that would basically analyze your post for search engine optimization. This vidIQ does that, but for your YouTube video. It also helps you find tags, because the tags are really important. And then when you're going through and you're doing your title, description, and tags, you want to have those keywords appear all in the same place. Another thing you can do, if you don't know what tags are great, you know, let's say I'm making a video on beginner flash photography. So I go search on YouTube, beginner flash photography, and then I go look at all the videos that have popped up. And then I go look at all the tags that those videos have used. And vidIQ will actually tell you which tags of theirs were working the best. So I take those tags, put them on my video, in addition to filling in on my own. But it's research. Every time I post a video, it's not just like click, click, upload. I am researching back and forth hashtags and phrases and ways to speak their language.
So, and you told me this a while ago. You said that this is like a full-time job. It's a lot of work, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So much work. It's super unrewarding.
So once you, just like with everything else, for anything that you want to work well, you would probably agree that you have to really work at it to make it work, right?
You do. You really have to work at it to make it happen. You know, don't post one video and be like, it didn't go viral. I suck. You know, it's just,
and then give up.
You have to maintain that kind of consistency. And I will say right now, because we're in this coronavirus awful time, you know, everybody's streaming and everybody's doing a YouTube channel, right? So the algorithms are kind of like all screwy, and even people I know with millions of followers on YouTube have been complaining like, what's this algorithm doing? My videos are bombing. Of course, their definition of bombing is very different than my definition of bombing. But still, it's very difficult, especially right now. But I think it gets more difficult as you go. Look at this, Jared Poland is calling me, literally.
I was going to say, is that your background on your phone?
Yes, he is my background. I'm not answering your phone call right now. He's probably watching this, like, pick up the phone. The other thing, which brings me to my point about having a support system. And when you were first a photographer, find people that you can go to for advice and ask their opinions and honest opinions. And if you can get someone to mentor you, amazing. Jared has been fantastic. Just talk, anytime I have a question, granted, he won't be like, here's what you should title that, or this is what your thumbnail should look like. But just somebody that can give you the back end, his experience. He's yelled at me for videos I've made or mistakes I've made, but you need that.
Yeah. And he's a super successful YouTuber. So, he definitely provides you a great advice.
Right. And, I know it's painful for us as photographers, but even if you have an opinion about someone who's, people say he's not a real photographer, that's irrelevant. If you're trying to learn YouTube, you go to somebody who knows YouTube, and he knows YouTube.
Yeah. And he's a good photographer as well. Yeah. I mean, just because you teach full time doesn't always mean that you're not successful at that particular thing you're teaching, Yeah.
You decide to do something else with it. I'm just going to go through people are saying, yeah, bad audio is unwatchable. Talent Photography asks, at what level does YouTube start paying you directly for your content? So that's one thing I wanted to get into. How do you actually make money, right, at YouTube? So there's monetization, which happens when you have 4,000 view hours. I actually don't remember, and they have changed that here and there. But you have to have a certain amount of hours watched on your YouTube, and it has to stay consistent. You can't just like hit that benchmark. You have to keep that benchmark. And they start monetizing, you get to play ads. It does not make you a lot of money, but you need to do that, I think, so it makes you a little bit of extra money. The other ways you make money are you do some type of sponsored video, or somebody wants you to check out this product and they give you the product for free or pay you to review it. I want my exposure again because the sun came out.
And what about affiliate links? Is that another way you can make money?
Yeah, the affiliate links are a way to make money. That's like a mini way. I've never made a lot of money on affiliate links. But again, it's like a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there, but it's not a lot. The biggest way that I am making money on YouTube is when people are like, hey, I want you to make this video with this product, show people how to shoot with it, show people how to, whatever it is.
That makes sense. So like sponsored content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it could just be one-offs or it's long-term. The other way to make money is, you're using this is where you give free content so that people end up signing up for your, free posing guide, which you can get in the link below. And then eventually you email them and you let them know about the products that you offer that are paid. For example, you and I just launched presets all at the same time. So, and they're super different. So it's actually really interesting to see people we both know are like, I don't know if I should get Michael Anthony's presets or your presets. I'm like, get whatever's going to work for your workflow. Don't get offended here. All right, I always get distracted with the chat. Okay, what else do I have here for you? Oh, after you post. So that's the big one. I'm gonna mess with my exposure again because we can't just be live and not have a good exposure. So the last thing is the post. So you do all the work to post. And again, a lot of people think, okay, I'm gonna post and now here's the end of it. But anyone who's owned any business of any kind knows that you can't just be amazing and expect people to walk through your door. And it's the same thing with YouTube. We've built wedding photography businesses on relationships, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or add to it, but relationships, paid marketing, partnerships with other people, word of mouth. I mean, there's a million different ways that we've gotten couples through our door. It's the exact same thing with YouTube.
And marketing is key, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to promote your video and your topic to your audience to help with the algorithm, I'm assuming.
Right. Right, exactly. So anytime that my video posts, I usually, if I'm not super busy, because I do schedule to post ahead of time. So I take that and I share it to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If it's a really good video, I'll actually email blast it to my audience. And I probably should email blast consistently to them so they get a notification with every video. But I don't, because I just don't like to send people a million emails. But then on top of it, what else can you do? So let's just say I made a video and I used some Profoto lights and I used a Lastolite reflector. Well, then I'm going to go to that company, Profoto and Lastolite and whoever else, and say, hey, I made this video. Do you mind sharing it in your newsletter or social media? Granted, these are all relationships I have cultivated throughout the last 20 years as being a photographer, so I can go ask them. But the concept is exactly the same. Maybe you go to F-Stoppers or SLR Lounge, which is something that I've done. Hey, I did this video. If you like it, do you think I could put it on your blog? Great. And then that all feeds into your system, your ecosystem.
Yeah. And is it important in your video to ask your subscribers to subscribe and to comment to help with the algorithms?
Yes. Because first of all, you just may as well. A lot of people just think, oh, that was a great video. And I've done it too. Yeah. And I've even gone like, oh, that was a great video. Let me look at something else they've done and then look at something else that they've done. And then I get distracted and I walk away.
You forget to engage with it.
You forget to engage with it. And you get mad sometimes like, oh, I kind of wanted all of that information. So I think it is. Oh, hey, Jared, there you go. Now he's in the chat. I didn't know you were live. Yes, I showed everyone you called me. But, yeah.
And her phone background.
And my phone background, which is just your picture. That's okay. He has no shame about that picture. Anyway, so yes, you have to do all of the work afterwards. And I'm going to change my exposure again. There we go.
Yeah, so that will help you to really get more of your audience engage with it, so that YouTube will show it to your audience when you do post another video, and so on and so forth, right?
Right. Exactly. So that work afterwards is almost more work than filming and editing the darn video, honestly. It really, hey, Patty, how you doing? Yes, Jared's going to take over the chat, so he'll get all the questions there. Great. All right, let's see what else I had for the last stuff here. Oh, and then collaborations. So anytime that you can collaborate with another YouTuber, like the two of us, for example. Yeah. And we were talking about Jared. I was on his Raw Talk podcast on his YouTube a couple of days ago. And then you see a little boost from that. So yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you got to make friends within the YouTube community.
Just like you make friends within the photo community. It's that whole community over competition thing with, photo stuff. It's actually a little bit harder because it could potentially take jobs, but it's the same thing with YouTube. Some company could essentially choose to sponsor you because they saw you on my channel versus me. But you know what? I know everything comes around and I've learned from other people, so might as well pass it on. It's the same kind of mentality.
That's good. Good way to look at things.
Yeah.
It's called the fro bump.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons I think that was like the last thing I wanted to talk about too, is why I decided to title this video how I got to 10,000 versus how I got to where I am now, which is about 15. And that would be, sometimes it's just about doing something ridiculous, like making a video that's making fun of a friend of mine,
Had me laughing for like an hour afterward. It was excellent.
Yeah. And it's kind of annoying. It annoyed me at first. I wanted to do good, obviously, but it almost annoyed me at how well. And now it's the best performing video on my channel. So it's like, be careful what you wish for, when really I'm like, all this work I did on the rest of the videos, and that's the one that gets the most attention. But
it's entertaining.
It's entertaining. It's almost, think about, I'm trying to think of like the Doritos commercial from like a bazillion years ago, or maybe it was a Budweiser commercial. I don't recall now, but that commercial where it was, "What's up?" Right? Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, Budweiser.
Budweiser. So it was so stupid, had nothing to do with beer, but that became so well known. And it's like, are you going to be mad because they weren't saying Budweiser and everyone's saying "What's up" instead? No, that was successful. So
it makes sense.
Yeah. Ultimately, you also just want to be doing things where you're just going to have fun, because if you can't do things that are fun, then what's the point, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Every once in a while, just do some fun stuff.
No, I realized after starting this how much I actually like making videos and teaching through videos. It's a cool platform, and it's a good project to have. in addition to your photography as well. Because sometimes if you're shooting, you know, for instance, we're wedding photographers, and wedding photography can get pretty boring if you're doing it over and over and over again. You have nothing in between to take your mind off of and put onto the next thing.
Right, right. And just like photography, you know, remembering that this is usually a slow grow. It's a long-term thing if you want to do it. I've been filming like straight for 4.5 months and making 1.5 bazillion videos. And it is a lot of work. And it, like I said, in addition to people like you and me who are not career YouTubers.
And what advice, because I know the first time that I was on camera talking to a camera, it was super difficult. What advice do you have for people who want to do this and are just starting out and maybe they're not comfortable in front of a camera?
Right. Well, first, the magic is all in the editing. So getting a good editor is very helpful. But, you know, there's teleprompters and very inexpensive teleprompters. So if you know you have great concepts to communicate, maybe you want to write them down first and then use a teleprompter.
Yeah.
Because that's double the work for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is a lot of work to script it out. But I find if you have a lot of, especially for gear reviews, a lot of technical specs and things like that, sometimes it can help to make sure you're hitting all of your points.
Right, right. Yes. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with while you're making videos, they're not live. And this live one will do, I don't know, it probably won't do that well compared to ones that are specific ones I know are searchable, but you know, you can always edit it. So when I do YouTube filming day and I'm writing out my production schedule, I put my points, my bullet points below each video that I know I'll film. I don't write it all out, but I'll put bullet points for ones that I think I may or may not forget. And then while we're filming, I was really, wait a minute, did I get it all? Oh, okay. No, wait, I got to do one more. And then you go back into it. And eventually you do, you know, get better at it if it's something that you're going to do a lot.
Yeah.
Patty, thank you so much. I'm so glad you finally got my book. I feel like Patty, she is actually a pet photographer, and she got my book on off-camera flash. And I think she was probably like the first one that ordered it and the last one that Amazon shipped it to. So you have it.
Usually the way it goes, right?
Yeah, glad you broke things down in simple components and lighting principles before going to lighting scenarios. That makes me happy. I'm so glad you like it.
And how was your experience writing a book?
Oh God.
I hear it's a lot of work.
Do that again. Yeah. And not a lot of return. I mean, nobody's getting rich off writing a book except for, like, I don't know, Tony Robbins, maybe. He was already rich. So I do have a few more books coming out, but I managed a much easier way to write the book and basically compile things that I've already written and hire an editor to put them all together.
I got my hands on one of the lists one time of all the things that they needed, and not for me.
Yeah. It was a lot, but it was a bucket list thing. And I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted a hard copy book. And I also knew that I wouldn't have time to market it myself. So I decided to work with a publisher versus doing it on my own. And I may or may not do that again. I don't know. I've had an amazing experience with my publisher. I love them. But you always got to try a lot of different things. So
yeah. Awesome.
DP, Vanessa, see you need Sony to autofocus for you. Check out this Canon eye autofocus. I see you. Don't need that. Oh, hey. Yes, Jay, I will definitely post this later. This is a good question in the chat. Does the category matter when uploading videos to YouTube? I think the category matters because what's going to happen, I don't know exactly what it does to, like, the algorithm. I don't know that much about it yet, like all of that. However, think of if you were in, I don't know, the entertainment category, and then you're looking for entertainment, laughing, and then something educational comes up because it's been miscategorized. You're just going to swoop right past it, right? And what happens is YouTube tracks this. You look in your analytics and it tracks the impressions and the click-through rate. And if your click-through rate is like down the tubes because you've miscategorized something and people are annoyed by it when they see it because they're not in the headspace for, you know, education and when they're looking in entertainment, then YouTube is going to think, people don't want to see this video, so let's not push it out to anyone else, or not anyone, who knows what their actual.
Yeah. It seems like videos that have a lot of engagement, just like with social media posts, will definitely do better in search results. That's pretty much a given, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. You know, if you take a class on search engine optimization, 100% it'll help you with YouTube. And thank you, Drew. I appreciate that. We are technically at 15K. The reason why I didn't title this, though, was for other reasons. Jose, oh, he has to go back to his, he shipped the book to his job. And now you have to wait to go back to work to get the book. We will all be there soon, hopefully. Yeah. Any other questions that you have? I think I just fire hosed everyone with.
No, that's good. I mean, this was great information. And I totally appreciate you doing this for me and for your audience as well, too. I know they're going to appreciate it as well.
I hope so. And in the meantime, you know what? Just have fun and find new things. Are you on TikTok yet?
I have a TikTok, but I'm not making videos on it yet. But I could sit on TikTok all day and watch it.
Yeah, I know.
Just got things to do.
I just started to be like, no, I'm going to make more videos on there. So I do that.
I'm going to follow you on TikTok later today.
Please do. Please do. My point is they have your outbound link from your profile. It's not to a website. It's either Instagram or YouTube. So I'm like, okay, so maybe that'll bring some people, you know. Ultimately, a lot of it is just a marketing experiment too. So.
Yep. So good content and good marketing, like everything else, will be the success formula.
Yes. Yeah. Jay said, I spend hours on just the title alone for videos on YouTube. Still have no clue how or why certain titles work, why ones don't. Give me advice moving forward. So my advice to you is rewind this video, as we talked about that extensively. But ultimately, I'll paraphrase. Titles, it's all about what people are searching for. So open up a YouTube browser, start typing out the topic, the words in different order, the thing that it is that you are making the video about. And then that'll give you ideas for titles. You can see what videos are doing well in that title or topic and get a feel for speaking the language of YouTubers. The YouTubers, it's just everybody. It's just how we all think. All right, so thank you guys so much for joining us and the questions. I wanted to keep this super short, so later when people are watching this, they can get a ton of information. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe, not just to me, but also to Michael Anthony, whose link is in the chat below, description. And I think I saw someone say there was a broken link somewhere, so please leave a comment about that if there is, and I will check it for you. But you can also check out Michael Anthony's presets that he just released. Are they on one of your YouTube videos? You have some.
They are, yeah. We have a YouTube video dedicated to them, and people could find them right there.
Good, yeah. He's got some great content on videos, and of course, make sure you subscribe to my page. We've got lots coming out. Appreciate all of you guys. I'm gonna hit end stream. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys.